Massachusetts police say the Boston blasts are likely a terrorist attack, twin blasts hitting the finish line of the city's marathon, killing at least 2 and leaving dozens more injured. Shortly after that, a third explosion rocked the Boston John F. Kennedy Library. No one there was harmed. A Saudi man has been detained in the hospital as a suspect after being filmed taking suspect packages to the area. President Obama expected any minute to deliver a speech regarding the bombings. Let's go live now to RT's U.S. correspondent Marina Portnaya with the latest. So, Marina, give us the latest updates as you can on this attack. What is assumed to be an attack, rather.
Well, the latest updates. Yes. Well, the latest, all facts so far are pointing to the fact that this was an attack. We are waiting to hear, as you mentioned, from U.S. President Barack Obama shortly, who will be addressing the nation in the aftermath of 2 explosives going off by the finish line of the Boston Marathon. At least 2 people have been killed, and it's reported that at least 100 are now being treated at various hospitals in Boston. We saw some horrific images and video from the scene. Some of those images, which we could not authenticate, showed that some of the victims without limbs. There was a lot of blood that was spilled on the streets, a lot of damage to the nearby buildings that were hit clearly by the debris of the explosions. One man who was running was hit by some debris and immediately fell to the ground. Of course, it was an extremely chaotic situation, a quite alarming situation for so many tens of thousands of people that gathered there to watch some 27,000 people run in the Boston Marathon. Now, in the aftermath, what we know is that the Federal Aviation Administration has imposed a no-fly zone over the area of the Boston Marathon explosions. We also know from what is being reported that the Boston Police Department has asked everybody in the area not to use their cell phones. Some reports indicate that cell phone service has been shut down because the police are concerned that there may be explosives that they haven't found yet that may be triggered by cell phone use. The police have found 2 additional explosives, in addition to the 2 that were detonated. Now these explosions the explosives are being called bombs, and when you call them bombs, then that clearly changes the story. And as the Boston Police Department is now saying, this is an indication of a terror attack. It took place in an area where tens of thousands of people were gathered. According to police, they found these bombs in garbage cans and are still looking for more. There are many bags that have been left in the area of the bombs, and so the police are now going through all the bags that people may have left there when fleeing, when running, to secure the area, to look through them, to see what they have inside. You did report that the Boston police did have a 20-year-old Saudi in custody. That was reported originally by the New York Post, but a spokesman for the Boston Police Department says that that report is false. There is no suspect so far in custody, according to the Boston Police Department. We should mention that this incident in Boston has become a national issue for the United States. Security has been beefed up in Washington, D.C., in Los Angeles, in New York City. We know that the White House has been pretty much put on lockdown. Here in New York City, the New York City Police Department has deployed their counterterrorism teams to New York City landmarks and to certain hotels. In L.A., the bus and rail system has been put on high alert, and bomb-sniffing dogs are out on certain parts of the city. So clearly, this event unfolding in Boston, a tragic event, has become a national event and possibly even a national threat for the United States.
All right, RT's Marina Portnaya live for us in New York with that update. Thanks very much. Well, let's go live now to Iraq War veteran Jael Aharam with some perspective on this. So, given the latest attack, do you think, from a military perspective, what practical steps can a government do to prevent attacks like this and maintain security in the home front?
You can't. This is the thing that we need to learn, is that even with the Patriot Act, even with the NDAA, even with the surveillance states that's been going on, even with all the wars going on, in Afghanistan, in Yemen, in Pakistan, and all the drone program, this attack still happened. I'm not going to speculate on who did what, whether or not this this was caused by a foreign national or this was caused by domestic terrorists. One thing is for sure that the United States government, will use this as an excuse to continue on the trajectory of even more surveillance, of even more fake security, of even more. I mean, what's next? TSA at every marathon, TSA in every street corner. That's going to be the solutions that's going to be put forward. And this thing where you have journalists basically without fact blaming their neighbors, accusing them of terrorism. You have Wolf Blitzer and people in Time Magazine, a Time Magazine journalist accusing now right-wing groups of this attack. That's disgusting. And this whole thing, it's people are losing their minds.
Disgusting because it's supposition, or disgusting because it's opinion? Why do you find that so abhorrent?
It's abhorrent because of what that means. For the past decade, when you call someone a terrorist, you're basically saying that what the government does to terrorists or people accused of terrorism, you're okay with that. You're okay with them being indefinitely detained, being put in Gitmo. You're okay with them being spied on. You are okay with them being assassinated, because that is what this government is doing to people suspected of terrorism. So when Wolf Blitzer or Alex something or the other, the Time journalist, is accusing right-wing groups of this attack, he's saying, I am okay with the government doing those awful things to my own countrymen. And people need to stop.
What makes you think that that's what's going to come from that, though?
That what?
What makes you think that that is going to be a government response to someone pointing a finger at someone and saying, look, that's person
because it already has happened. It already has happened. You have Jose Padilla, who's an American who was captured in Chicago, I believe, on American soil, and he was indefinitely detained for years. And then you have Abdul Rahman Al-Awlaki, a 16-year-old teenager from Detroit, killed by this government, and not to mention his father, and then two other Americans. It's 4 Americans that this government had killed, but merely because of being suspected of terrorists.
But then again, you have other people who actually commit serious crimes, like the alleged Colorado shooter, like what recently happened at Lone Star State College, where people, they could be called terror. You could point a finger at them and say you went on a mass shooting, but these people are considered criminals. I mean, where do you think that line is?
It must be the melanin in our skin. Maybe that's what it is. It's the color of skin that differentiates a terrorist and your religion, a terrorist from non-terrorists. What happened in Colorado? That a lot of people died. A lot of people. It was mass murder. There's going to be more people that died in Newtown than now that happened in this attack. But we're not seeing people. We're not seeing the government. Sending police and National Guard into Newtown to detain every single white male out there. There's going to be a disproportionate response to this. To this, if this turns out to be quote an act of terror.
Well, if this turns out to be an act of terror brought upon the U.S. by an outside individual or someone with an outside U.S. origin, say a different country, what do you think that says about the efficacy of the Patriot Act, etc.?
It's all a lie. It's all security theater. That's what that means. It means it's now even more of a reason to repeal the Patriot Act, to repeal the indefinite detention of the NDA, to stop Obama's drone wars, to close the Gulag in Guantanamo, and to stop the drone program. To basically end this war on terror. if that's the case, because it looks like, I've said it before on this network that 10 years, more than 10 years of a decade of war, 12 years now, 12 years of war in Afghanistan will have repercussions. Over 12 years of the global war on terror.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off, but President Obama is giving an address now. We need to jump in with that. Jael Aharon, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Definitely.
As I just said, President Obama is now addressing the issue of the Boston blast. Let's take a listen.
Leaders of Congress in both parties, and we reaffirm that on days like this, there are no Republicans or Democrats. We are Americans, united in concern for our fellow citizens.